Hi guys, it's Michaela with Your Everyday Woman. So today I wanted to talk about my decision regarding to bottle feeding my daughter. If you haven't seen it, I did a video last year about bottle feeding and kind of why we chose to bottle feed. So with that, I will leave that in the description below. That was when Abby was little. Now that we've got Amelia, I just kind of wanted to share like what went into that decision to do it again versus trying to breastfeed this time around. But before we get into it, I want to share the bottle I'm using. This is the Dr. Brown's anti-colic bottle. It's got this here, which I think what this does, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think it like traps the air so it doesn't get into her tummy. Yeah, she has been dealing with some colic issues, so it's not, we are managing it. I am also using the Enfamil Gentle Ease, but I have tried a couple other things that kind of work as well. The Enfamil NeuroPro wasn't too bad, but did give her a few tummy issues. And I am actually recently started the Similac Alimentum, which so far it seems to be working really well. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to switch to that brand or just stick with what I have, but either way. So yeah, the first reason why I chose to bottle feed Amelia is because with Abby, I loved it so much. She thrived on it. She absolutely thrived. And she's still thriving to this day. Clearly after 2 years after being fed formula as a baby, she, there's nothing wrong. She's doing good. And I loved it. And with her, I didn't feel like there was a lack of a bond. There's some stuff that can be said as far as a bond goes. Maybe, breastfeeding can help with bonding better. Quite honestly, I don't notice a difference. I think, she's my child, and I love doing it, and the bond did not take a hit at all. At least not for me. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, the bond is, I am very, very close with my girls, and they are both very much mama's girls. Another reason is, if you've been keeping up with my series, I call it the Crisis Situation series on here on my channel, you'll know that I have been going through a hard time. My family's been going through a hard time lately. So for me, when I look at all the stressors in my life, I want to start looking at what I can eliminate. And for me, breastfeeding is stressful. You're constantly worried about if your baby's getting enough, if she's latching right, what's going on, and all these things and how to do it. And for me, I looked at that and I said, okay, I do not have to stress about this. This is one thing I can easily go ahead and just eliminate from my plate of stressors. So, and honestly, for a minute there, I did contemplate breastfeeding because she latched so well in the hospital. However, that first night, she, was attached to my boob, and like for 8 hours straight she was attached, and it really hurt. And so when I decided to go ahead and just give her the bottle just so I could figure out what was going on, that bottle, it felt so natural to me. Breastfeeding does not feel natural to me, and it immediately relieved all of that stress. So it's one of those things where it's like, could I have done it and been successful this time around? Probably. But with everything else going on, and that kind of was my final decision right there when everything else took place, was for me to just not have to worry about this one thing that I could easily just take off my plate. So with that, I mean, another reason, she's colicky. She's a colicky baby. She has a hard time, and I mean, I don't know really the benefits of breastfeeding a colicky baby. All I know is that she, once I got this specialized bottle, it eliminated a lot of my breastfeeding problems. I love bottle feeding Abby. I love bottle feeding Amelia. Other people can feed her too. I mean, with Abby, was one of those things where it's like, okay, if she was up all night because she wasn't feeling good for one reason or another, or she just wanted to get up and play in the middle of the night, and I had been up for 2-3 days in a row, guess what? I can give her to Marty. I was able to give her to Marty, and he was able to feed her, and I was able to go and get a full night's rest on those days that I felt really exhausted instead of having to get up and breastfeed, because breastfeeding was still would have been an only option. Another thing, I can leave her with my parents. I don't always like taking children out, especially during these times. It's scary, and if I can leave them home with grandma and grandpa for a few hours, or somebody that I trust with my children for a few hours, instead of having to take them out and it'd be a hassle and it'd be dangerous, or maybe Marty and I just need a date night or something. I just need to get out and just be for a little while. I can leave them and not have to worry about being home in X amount of time, especially when they're not on an exact feeding schedule, so then you don't know what's going to happen. And I can be confident that they're already going to have everything that they're going to need in the formula. So it's so nice to be able to just do that, and other people can take care of her, and she doesn't have to be entirely dependent on me being able to feed her. So it was an easier decision. I mean, call it lazy if you want. Honestly, I don't feel like bottle feeding is a form of laziness. I feel like bottle feeding is just a form of feeding your child. I mean, even the nurse practitioner when I was pregnant told me, you know, you do not have to breastfeed because somebody in the medical field tells you to, or because somebody over here tells you to. She herself actually bottle fed her baby. So she herself had told me, you know what, do it a second time around, because I was asking her, I'm like, do I just plan on doing it? Do I try and breastfeed? And you know, she's one of those people that I totally trusted with that answer, because she has been able to see both sides of things because of her job. And she told me to bottle feed the baby if I knew it worked well. So that's what I did, and she's thriving. And you know, another benefit I could say to bottle feeding is, for me, I have a hard time when moms decide that I'm going to breastfeed, that's all there is to it, that's all there is, there's no other way, I'm going to figure it out. You know, but how long does it take to figure out what you can and cannot eat before your child finally stops hurting? You know, because there are more restrictive diets than others, and I get that, and I'm not against breastfeeding at all, but an added benefit is, how long is it going to take for you to figure out what your diet can be like before in the meantime your child is in pain every time they eat, because all you can think about is breastfeeding instead of considering the bottle option. Again, I'm not against breastfeeding. I'm against being so determined to do this one thing because you feel like it's the only option, because you've heard these theories of breast is best and that's all there is to it. That's not true. Go ahead and open yourself up to bottle feeding. Yeah, it may take a few different formula tries. We've tried 3 or 4 different formulas and they didn't quite work out for Amelia. But now that she's 2 months old, I'm not still trying to figure out what I can and cannot eat. I mean, and yeah, breastfeeding mothers, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't know how long it takes to. I cannot honestly speak to that. But that for me is just my theory of bottle feeding. So, yeah, both my kids are thriving. Both of them were formula fed, and I should probably emphasize, no, this is not breast milk I'm giving my child. This is formula. You know, I guess there's a difference. I don't really think about it. I think a bottle is a bottle. So that was my fault. But yeah, overall I loved it. If you do have any questions about bottle feeding, please let me know. I would love to answer them. And with that, thank you for watching this video. I hope you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do videos focusing on beauty, fashion, lifestyle, and motherhood. And I will see you in the next video. God bless and bye, guys.